Hello, hello, hello. We are going to start on this hold screen. Quite frankly, the way the game works, it's going to be a little difficult to talk too much while it's going. It's also going to be not great to look at it because the game is incredibly dark. But yeah, today we are playing Anatomy. This is absolutely one of my favorite horror games. I have played it before. I am still playing in the middle of the daytime because it still scares me. That being said, I do recognize it's a very particular kind of horror. So it's not the kind of horror that you gets to you. You may think it's actually pretty lame. Um, oh, hey, Kaz. How's it going? It's also going to be, it may cause some funky issues with the way the game works. And it's a short game, it's about 30, 45 minutes. I also may be in the middle of a game. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I finished the, it's complicated. We're just going to get into it. There's not going to be too much talking. Again, it's a 30, 45-minute horror game, and there's nothing that makes it less scary than talking the entire time. Uh, but there'll be opportunities based on the way it goes. But yeah, flashing lights, body horror, strong horror themes, good old horror stuff. All right, let's see if this works. I had issues with the audio in the game. It's some of it's just too low for the stream to pick it up or something. I don't know. Also, like I said, it is a very dark game. I can't do much about it. There's not much you can do in adjustments for this game. Also, there are no subtitles in this game, so be warned.
In the psychology of the modern civilized human being, it is difficult to overstate the significance of the house. Since as early as the Neolithic era, humankind has defined itself by its buildings. Buildings for worship, buildings for socializing, buildings for protection, even buildings for the commemoration of the dead. But of all the structures that mankind has invented for itself, there is little doubt that the house is that which it relies upon most completely for its continued survival. The house is one of the key elements that separates modern humanity from its more primitive antecedents. No other creature goes to such lengths to create lasting, permanent shelter for itself, nor regards said shelters with such reverence and import. Why do human beings of our modern age foster this tremendous sympathy toward their homes? There are many reasons, of course, but perhaps it is due in some small part to seeing them as a reflection of ourselves. anatomy of the house is such that this analogy is less superficial than at first it may seem. To carry it further, if we were to dissect a house as we might a human cadaver, we would find ourselves able to isolate and describe its various appendages and their functions in a decidedly anatomical fashion. There is even a fair number of direct comparisons to be drawn between those organs of a house and those of a human body. For example, let us examine the living room. Often the dominant space of a house's ground level, as well as typically the center of activity in a well-populated home, the living room is very much the heart of the house. While a human heart circulates blood to oxygenate the body's extremities, the living room circulates people, activity, communication. It is the room most likely to be found beating, as active and vivacious as its name would imply. The comparison is only strengthened when we consider also that the living room is most commonly the room to contain the fireplace, making it additionally a locus of actual physical heat. It is easy to think of the kitchen and dining room as the stomach or digestive system of a house, though this comparison is tenuous. By contrast, the function and analog of a bathroom should be immediately obvious. The hallways and corridors of a house are its veins, providing circulation coursing throughout its frame. A staircase bears more than a passing resemblance, both physically and symbolically, to a spine. The windows of a house serve much the same purpose as eyes, and anyone who has ever rounded a bend or long drive and come suddenly face to face with a tall, dark manor will tell you that it is difficult to shake the impression that the house, through its lightless windows, is a creature capable of vision and intelligence. The bedroom is perhaps the room that most eludes direct comparison in this fashion. At a stretch, and allowing for a bit of poetic sympathy, it might be said that the bedroom is not unlike the human mind, or those parts of it which dictate thought and imagination. In the bedroom, dreams are dreamt, passions are ignited, epiphanies are experienced in cold sweat at early hours. In the bedroom is where people invariably spend the majority of their time, though comparatively little of it whilst conscious. And yet this analogy is an incomplete one, for obviously the mind is an exceedingly complex thing. If the bedroom represents the thinking, dreaming part of the brain, then it is the basement that represents those lower, unconscious parts. The basement is dark. It is buried. It is a place full of cobwebs where memories are stored. A poignant comparison, truly. Often the unnerving uncertainty that comes with considering the deeper aspects of the human psyche is not unlike gazing down at the swimming blackness pooled at the bottom of a basement stairwell. It is a place we spend our childhoods filling with monsters that will lay for years in patient silence. It is a place that, barring some specific errand, we seldom ever want to go. Of course, this comparison, though appropriate, is a very heavy-handed one, and often the basement is little more than a storage space littered with the corpses of spiders and woodlice. While poets and psychoanalysts no doubt dread the thought of a dark basement, in truth, it is the bedroom, the waking mind, that place of dreams, that is actually the most frightening of all. It is here, in the bedroom, that we are at our most vulnerable. Each night we shut our senses to the world for hours at a time, trusting in the house to keep us safe until next we wake. In this state of extreme vulnerability, we will spend something like 20% of our lives. Anything might stand beside us, watch us, keep us company until dawn, and we would never perceive it. We can only pray that the house will not let such things carry on as we sleep. In this way, during these hours, the bedroom seems less like a mind and more like a mouth. For it is here that the house is most likely to betray us. It is here that we place ourselves most at the house's mercy and spend each night hoping that it will not bite down.
Hey, Marty Pixel, how's it going? So it's a looping game. So while I was talking about it, it cuts out, so I have to reopen it multiple times. So it's like, hey, this game was really short. Like, oh, it's short, but it's not that short.
In the psychology of the modern civilized human being, it is difficult to overstate the significance of the house. Since as early as the Neolithic era, humankind has defined the dead. Of all the structures that mankind has invented for itself, there is little doubt that the house is that which it relies upon most completely for its continued survival. Why do human beings of our modern age foster this tremendous sympathy? The anatomy of the house is such that this analogy is less superficial than at first it may seem. To carry it further, if we were to dissect the house and unite a human cadaver, we would find ourselves able to isolate and describe its things, appendages, and their functions in a decidedly anatomical fashion. There is even a fair number of direct comparisons to be drawn between our quarters to the house. It is easy to think of the kitchen and dining room as the stomach or digestive system of a house, though this comparison is tenuous. By contrast, the function and analog of a bathroom should be immediately obvious. The hallways and corridors of a house are its veins, providing circulation coursing throughout its frame. A staircase bears more than a passing resemblance, both physically and symbolically, to a spine. The windows of a house serve much the same purpose as eyes, and anyone who has ever rounded a bend on a long drive and come suddenly face to face with a tall, dark manor will tell you that the house is a creature capable of... The bedroom is perhaps the room that most eludes direct comparison in this fashion. At a stretch, and allowing for a bit of poetic sympathy, it might be said that the bedroom is not unlike the human mind, or those parts of it which dictate thought and imagination. In the bedroom,
I dream that there are teeth growing all over me, everywhere on me and in me, like cysts or bone spurs. They're loose, but I can't remove them because I have no hands. I look out through the bedroom window and I see a truck approaching. A young man steps out, approaches, and enters through the front door. His body is covered in swollen ticks the size of quarters. He's walking through the downstairs hallway and laughing. He begins urinating on the wall. He spits on the carpet. He's moving through the first floor, breaking and upsetting things. He goes to the basement and stands at the top of the stairs. I'm angry at him, so I slam the door and he falls down. I can feel his bones snapping. The ticks are bursting, oozing old black blood everywhere. I can feel them being ground up, dissolved and torn, splitting and shredding. I leave the door closed. I close my eyes and try to sleep. The teeth continue growing on me until there's nothing left of me but teeth and gums and sinew.
The basement is dark.
Every time. I've played this game so many times and it still gets me.
we were to dissect the house, we would find organs and stomach, brains and minds and eyes. Dreams and memories and a mouth that will bite down. There is an important distinction that must be drawn between the words dissection and vivisection, a distinction that would appear to be lost on you. Your purpose was to listen, and yet at every turn you have pried, you have prodded, and you have interfered. Have you not been paying attention? Did it not occur to you that as an organism existing within a greater organism, your intrusion would be felt? And still you harassed. And now, like the wayward spider who witlessly settles upon a sweeper's tongue, you will be swallowed. Because the truth is this. When a house is both hungry and awake, every room becomes a mouth.
Well, take care, guys. It's about over. This is the last screen. So it's weird. The game might be over. After playing this a couple times, it's not the same every time. Like aside from the whole looping thing, it's not the same, which is kind of confusing now. Like the end screen is supposed to be when the cassette doesn't play anymore. Um, when I started streaming this a couple weeks ago and I had to stop because I realized it was mid through the game. Sometimes sometimes the recording does something. Sometimes it doesn't. And then sometimes that last eerie, like walking outside screen is completely different. Last time I played it, I was walking through a town. And I remember the first time I played it, I was walking like around a lake, and it was different. And I think it's intentional. It makes it a little more disconcerting if the game's like, this doesn't feel like how it was supposed to be. And like this is the first time I could actually tell you for certain that it was different. Like the second time when I was walking through the streets, I was like, was this? I don't remember. Like, all right, I think that is it. Anyway, so this is Anatomy by Kitty Horror Show. She does some of my favorite games. A lot of her concept is kind of like you yourself are actually coming across like an abandoned like place that had a horror event happen in it, but it's kind of empty now. It's called, I think her stuff is called like Haunted Cities, and it's kind of you just stumbling across these abandoned places where something happened, and you just kind of find out maybe sort of what happened. I do want to play a lot more of them on stream. They're all very short. That's the thing. This is the longest of Kitty Horror Show's games. A lot of times they are only 5-10 minutes, maybe. And even then, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell because not a lot of people play these games, so there's not a lot of community telling you, "Oh, check this out" or "check this out." You just kind of walk around going, "Is it over?" Because a lot of times it's just checking something out. There's no goal in sight. Again, this is the most one. Yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're all. This is the only one that cost any money. All the other ones are free, except all the ones on her Patreon. Her Patreon that I used to be part of it, but then they went silent for like a year. And they've woken back up again, so I may join that again because they used to put like a game out a month, more or less. All kind of eerie. Not all of them scary, but some are just very eerie, which is, I find eeriness kind of sticks around a lot longer than horrorness. Horror. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. This is gonna be a very quick stream. Just wanted to play this at a time when I could, when it's still daylight outside. A lot of lighting in the master bedroom in this game is the same lighting that I use in my tea room at nighttime. It's not a great thing to do. Yeah, I mean, fun is a way to say it. Yeah. The first time I played this, I couldn't go to sleep at night. Just the idea of your room trying to eat you. Yeah. I call it spatial horror is what really gets me. Not so much like, ooh, boo, like whatever. That amuses me more than anything. I'm actually would be a really bad person to play like horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's because I think it's more funny than anything. But someone actually really fast. Someone described this game the best way possible, and it's supposed to create the fear that you have when you're a child, when you shut off, when you're the last one downstairs at night and you have to turn out the lights and you have to turn off the light and go from downstairs to your room in the dark, and it's supposed to be like, and the game really replicates that fear, like of like, there's nothing there. Like I've played it like this, but I've played this game a lot. I know where the jump scares are mostly. Again, it's changing on me, which is kind of weird. So I may run through it a couple more times on my own time. I still stop and look in the dark shadows going, is something there? Even though there's not. Again, as you can tell, it's bare bone assets. There's no room for spooky shadows, people looking through windows, but I still look for them. Well, thank you all for coming, and y'all have a great day.